Right, hello everyone. So, in this video today, I will be doing an updated version of my 2025 reading wrap up. I have been going over a few videos on my channel lately and just seeing which ones need to be updated or just ones that I might need to refilm because the lighting was either really bad or the microphone wasn't connected properly or wasn't working and you just couldn't hear me or the quality just wasn't good. I mean, I film on my phone still, but I think I would rather just at least you be able to see me and hear me because yeah, some of these videos didn't turn out as kind of how I would like them to, so I am going to redo them just so you're aware, especially over like the next few months. I probably will be posting quite a few updated videos. So anyway, we're just going to jump straight into it, starting off with January. Yeah, this is just going to be a quick run through of everything I read, just so we're not here all day. But starting off with Shadow and Bone by Lee Bardugo. It is I would say it's like a fantasy romance, kind of good versus evil, dark versus light, that sort of situation. I enjoyed it. It was a quick read, and I would recommend. Devil Bones by Kathy Reach. This is like a murder mystery following Dr. Temperance Brennan as she goes through the process of figuring out who bones belong to. You know, she's the forensic anthropologist, so you know every single book is a bit different but follows a similar storyline in terms of a mystery that she's trying to solve. And I would 100% recommend her books. They're really good, except this one had a bit of old language in it that I just didn't quite agree with. But other than that, really good. The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. This is a billionaire romance. It is a part of a trilogy, and I didn't mind it. I would recommend it. I had a fun time reading it. The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare. I think there's Sarah Rees Brennan and Maureen Johnson. This is basically just a backstory about Magnus Bane, and his life, like leading up to when he meets the Shadowhunters. So I would recommend it if you really, really love that series, because I actually didn't mind it at all. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, the first book in the Throne of Glass series. Really, really liked it. I love her series. Like honestly, I will recommend her series all the time. It is a fantasy romance, but the books get more and more complex and complicated as you go along. Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. This is a classic. It's a fantasy. It is a romance. There is a love triangle in it. It's so nostalgic that, of course, I would recommend reading it regardless. And I loved it. I loved every second of it, even if it was cringe and made me want to crawl into a ball and get sucked in my black hole. But you know, it's still good. I still like it. I would recommend. New Moon, which is the second book in the Twilight series, would recommend. Same shit, different day, but I still would recommend these books. We are going on to February. So basically, I read Eclipse, next book in the Twilight series. I then read The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner after Eclipse, which is a little novella. I then read Breaking Dawn, and then I finished off the Twilight series by reading Midnight Sun. So yes, I read the Twilight series back to back, basically from the end of January to through most of February, and I would recommend that series regardless. It's a good series. I mean, it's cringe, but it's good. It's so bad, it's good. Then I read Four by Veronica Roth, which is Four's story out of the Divergent series. I found it really interesting. You've got like 4 short stories, so you get a little bit more in depth about his character and his upbringing, which I did find really interesting. And I would definitely recommend this if you really, really love the Divergent series and want to get more of Four's backstory. Right, so Funny Story by Emily Henry. It is a romance. You are following Daphne and Miles as they go on their journey together, I guess you could say. But it's a really nice, like, summary, cute romance book. I do a lot of summary activities in this book, and I think this is my favorite book by her, honestly. I love all her stories, but this one in particular, so I would 100% recommend that one. And then going into March, I finished off the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series by reading The Conference of Birds. and The Desolation of Devil's Acre. Um, I don't really know how to describe these books. They are YA. The main characters in this book have kind of peculiar abilities. Jacob Portman is a human, but he gets kind of thrown into this world. They do go through like time loops, and I guess you could say time travel in a way. And it's kind of good versus evil. They're trying to, save the day basically. But it's really good, like YA. I would 100% recommend this book. I mean, I still enjoyed it as an adult, but it's pretty good. At the Foot of the Cherry Tree by Ali Parker, which is it's like a historical fiction. It is based off real life. It basically talks about um, the kind of journey of Australia's first Japanese war bride. So it's a really, really interesting read. I would 100% recommend this book. I still think about it to this day, honestly. The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan, which is the second book in the Wheel of Time series. This is fantasy, very heavy politics, tiniest amount of romance, but really not much until the later books. You got your kind of hero that's been the chosen one basically to kind of save the day, but it takes kind of a different spin on it. It's really good. Like, it takes a lot, but I would 100% recommend giving this series a try at least, because it's totally worth it once you get into it. I get into April, where I read Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This is another fantasy romance. You've got dragons. You've got our main interest that butt heads, and it's kind of like an enemies to lovers situation. And they kind of go to this school where they're learning about their powers and their signets and their dragons, and it's just really cool. I mean, I had a good time reading it. I know that there's a bit of controversy with this book, but honestly, I enjoyed myself. It was a good journey. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets and Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which are books 2 and 3 in the Harry Potter series. I mean, you're getting Harry Potter's second and third year at Hogwarts, and the conflict and plot thickens with each book. You're learning a lot more. You're getting a lot more dynamic with the friend group, and just a lot more history of the school and Harry's backstory. So, I would always recommend reading Harry Potter books, or at least watching the movies, because they're really good. Laura by Vera Caspary, which is a classic. It's a murder mystery, but there's a very big twist that I did not see coming. The only thing I'd have to say is the language can be a bit old-fashioned, so it doesn't always sit right with me, but did not expect it. Really, really good. Into May. So these are the books I read when I went overseas, and I have a video called TBR Jar Picks My May Reads for that year, so I'd definitely go check it out too if you want to see that. But I read The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Really good classic to start off with. Dorian Gray is a very flawed character. There is kind of suspenseful elements in this book, I would say. It just keeps you on the edge of your toes. There is a bit of a romance, and there is a bit of a scary kind of vibe with this painting that gets made of Dorian. And Dorian is someone that does not want to grow old. He wants to stay young and beautiful forever. And yeah, you're following his very flawed character, but it's very interesting. The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare. This basically just follows Alec and Magnus as they go on a trip through Europe. Definitely recommend reading this after you've read the Mortal Instruments series and you've gotten to know Alec and Magnus as characters a bit more, because this just goes more in depth about their characters and their relationship. The 12th of Never by James Patterson and Maxine Petro. This is about the Women's Murder Club, murder mystery. All these books are connected, so read them in order if you like kind of being left on edge and sorting out mysteries with the main characters. Definitely recommend this book. Break No Bones by Kathy Reach. Another one we following Dr. Temperance Brennan as she solves a mystery. Really immersive stories. I really like how Kathy Reach is a forensic anthropologist as well as the main character in this book, so you get a lot of insight into that job and that line of work, and you're trying to solve the mystery with the main character as well, but would 100% recommend. Right, so on to June, I read The Lord of the Flies, the graphic novel version. Reading this really made me want to read the original classic version, but I really, really love the art style in this and how they've kind of done that comic book style. And it's basically about a bunch of boys that get abandoned on an island and they have to survive, and it gets brutal, it gets gory, and it leaves you on the edge of your seat, basically. Crown of Midnight and the Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas, the next few books in the Throne of Glass series. You find out some crazy information at the end of this book, and this is basically Selena Sardothion's backstory, how she becomes an assassin, how she meets a Robin, a bit more about her and her life, basically. Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves by Mary Pearson. This is a fantasy romance book. You are following Cassie and Jace, and it's really good. It leaves you on the edge of your seat. Enemies to lovers. It's like such a great book to read, like in winter and autumn. Like she's got that vibe. But I really want to read these books again. I loved them a lot. Siege and Storm by Lee Bardugo. This is the second book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I didn't mind it. I honestly didn't mind this series in general, but if you're going to read anything by her, I'd definitely read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom because they were probably my favorite out of this whole universe that I read by her. And we go to July. I read Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Sorry, I'll butcher it for sure. But you basically get to go to this cafe and they'll give you a cup of coffee and it can send you back in time, but you have until your coffee gets cold to kind of come back into the present. Otherwise, you'll get stuck in the past. And it's a really heartwarming stories. I think I did cry with one of them because there's a few short stories in it, but it's really, really wholesome. And I would 100% recommend those books. And her writing, or their writing styles, is beautiful, honestly. And then we are still in July. I read Watch Me by Tahira Murphy. This is the first book in the New Republic series, I think it's called, where you're following James Anderson, Adam's brother in the Shadow Me series, and you meet Rosabelle Wolf, a new character who ends up being James's love interest. So it's really, really good. I love being back in the world again, and it is a bit of like an enemies to lovers situation, still dystopian. But if you love the Shadow Me series, I would recommend going back into that world because it's totally worth it. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Sorry, I'm just looking at my list over here. So if you see my eyes, just go that way. Yes, the fourth book in the Harry Potter series. This is Harry's fourth year at Hogwarts. You're really getting into the meat of the story by this point, and you're learning so much more about this world and these characters and Voldemort and everything like that. So it's really, really good. I would recommend it for sure. And then we have Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This is the second book in the Powerless series. Yeah, there's some reveals and stuff at the end of Powerless, so then you're kind of doing the aftermath, and she's, the aftermath of the first book, but she's still trying to survive, and you're finding out so much more in this book about the world and the characters, and Kai and Peyton kind of get forced together in a way, because I don't really want to spoil it, but yeah, there's a bit of forced proximity in this book, I would say, but so good. And there's a closed door scene, so there's not really any spice in this series. On to August. Fire and Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. This is the next few books in the Throne of Glass series. You get introduced to some new characters in Heir of Fire, and honestly, Queen of Shadows was one of my favorites out of the whole series, but I think it is almost everyone's favorite. It's just so good. Like, these books are so good. If you're going to take anything from this video, definitely read the Throne of Glass series. It's so worth it. Beach Read by Emily Henry. I kind of needed a little bit of a break from the Throne of Glass series, so I read this cute beachy romance book, and it's about January and Gus, and I think they might be both writers. Like, yeah, they've both got writer's block, and they basically kind of come together to help each other with it, and they form a bit of a romance bond situation. So it's very nice, very cute to read. I did a tandem read of Empire of Storm and Tower of Dawn, the next few books in the Throne of Glass series. Definitely worth it to do a tandem read. I really, really enjoyed it so much more. It was way more immersive, and you get to kind of knock two books in one, but because they're in the same timeline, it just makes it flow a lot more easier, and it's really, really good reading that way. But really good books. I actually like both of them. I know a lot of people like Empire of Storm more than Tower of Dawn, but I had a really good time reading both, so I would recommend it. And that's all for August. On to September. I finished off the Throne of Glass series by reading Kingdom of Ash. This basically took me the rest of September to read. Really, really crazy conclusion to this whole book. I really did like it. And it was a bit slow at parts, but I think it kind of wrapped up really nicely in this book. So Yeah, good stuff. Finished that series. And then into October, I read Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which is book 5 of the Harry Potter series. You're really, really like finding out more about Voldemort now and just how messed up this whole situation is. But these books are, I think this is something sad happened in this book or the next book, but I was so invested in these characters at this point that I was just so immersed in this story. So it was good. 100% recommend. The Hunger Games. I know it's been a long time and I'm finally reading in my 20s, but everyone knows this story, so I won't go into it. But you are following Katniss as she goes into the Hunger Games, and it is terrifying, gory, crazy, diabolical. Just the way that Suzanne Collins creates this world and the politics, honestly amazing, like really, really good. The Dragon Reborn, which is book 3 in the Wheel of Time series. Not much to say, but the series is getting way more complex at this point, and it took a lot for me to concentrate on this book and to get through it, but totally worth it. For November, I finished the Hunger Games series by reading Catching Fire and Mockingjay. So I won't go into it, but really, really good. I think Mockingjay was a bit slow for me. Catching Fire was really, really good because we also get introduced to some more characters that kind of got mentioned in the first book, and it's really good getting introduced to these characters. I don't know what to say because it's so popular and like really everyone knows about it. Fearful by Lauren Roberts, which is a novella, a part of the Powerless series. I really enjoyed this novella. You get a bit more about Kit in this one, which I actually really liked, kind of getting his point of view, and I would 100% recommend. I finished off the Harry Potter series by reading Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. So, crazy conclusion. I really, really liked the books. Would 100% recommend them, honestly. And that is all for November, and on to December. Right, so for December, I read The Family Remains, which is the next book after The Family Upstairs. I think this is just a duology. It is a psychological thriller. It just follows the events after the first book. It is a bit messed up though, so I definitely check the trigger warnings before you go into it, but I didn't mind it at all, honestly. Then Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. This is the second book in the Red Rising series. You're basically just following from the events that happened in the first book, and Darrow is just continuing to play out his plan into the second book, and it gets crazy. There's a lot of plot twists, things are revealed. Like, this is the book that probably made me really, really obsessed with this series after this one, honestly. This one, sorry. So I would definitely recommend this series for sure. The 113th Assistant Librarian by Stuart Wilson. It's just a YA book, definitely like more marketed like juvenile fiction, things like that. You're following Oliver as he works in a library and kind of everything goes wrong for him and he's just a kid, and it's pretty wholesome, but it's a nice like switch your brain off kind of read because it is like for young kids basically, but a family member didn't want it, so I was like, I'll read it. I'll have fun. The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I read The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, and I didn't mind it. I definitely liked that it was dark academia. I just didn't connect to the characters as much as I thought I was going to, so I might not continue the series, but she has a really, really stunning, beautiful writing, so I definitely liked that aspect of the book. So I would still recommend it, but I just probably won't continue it. How the King of Eltham Learned to Hate Stories by Holly Black. You're following Carden and basically how he got brought up as a child and why he hates stories, and it's a really quick read. Like you've got illustrations as well to look at. So if you really, really love the Cruel Prince series and you want to know a bit more about Carden's backstory, I would recommend it. Then lastly, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I loved this book. I still think about it to this day. It is basically following Evelyn as she has like 7 husbands across her Hollywood journey, really, and just her life in Hollywood and being an actress and everything like that. And there's a huge plot twist towards the end, so 100% worth it. But yes, that's it. That's all the books I read in 2025. Very quick recap. I hope you still like it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.